press it down, and you can see on the side of the container approximately how high it comes up. So that way, when it rises, you know what double is. Otherwise, put a piece of tape on it. You can see how it came up exactly double. You can tell when you stick your finger in that it keeps the hole. Lightly spray the counter or use a little bit of flour in case it's moist, but it's not sticking to my fingers. I don't like to add too much extra flour because you get the best texture in bread, lacy and open holes, when you keep it really moist. And you can see it's moist enough. Please spray this again because it's going to go back in for a second rise. Now you can either give this a business letter fold, or, because I'm getting to show you this, I can show you my favorite way to do it is by making a dough package. Here I'm distributing everything, all the grains evenly, but I'm also stretching the gluten. It's as if the dough is doing exercise. Then I pull this up to the top, and then I pull this out to the side, pull the bottom out, not to tear it, just to pull it so that it stretches, like Pilates for dough. And then tuck it under to keep the good shape, and press it back into the container. And you see now it's fuller of air than it was the first time. It's certainly a lot smoother. So it's going to fill the container fuller, so the second rise will rise higher than the first one. Cover it tightly and let it rise. Takes about an hour to 2 hours. And here is the fully risen dough the second time. You can see it came all the way up to the top of the container. And this is ready to be shaped. So people often wondered, do I pull it out? I like to take the smooth side and put that down. You can see how beautiful and full of air this dough is. So in order to shape what is called a torpedo or a batard, which is like a football, I start by first pressing it out and dimpling it lightly so I don't have big air pockets, and then fold it forward so that the center is going to be high, so it tapers out. And then fold that part over and push it away. And don't overflour the counter because then it slips on the counter. You want it to pull a little because a tightly shaped loaf has a better shape and it rises better. And with my thumbs, I'm sealing the bottom and then rolling it over so that the seam becomes at the bottom. And as you can see, the bread is now 11 inches by about 2 inches high. And I want it to grow when it's proofing to about 1 inch, 12 inches by 2.5. And the way to protect it from drying out is that, and getting ready for the oven, is that I put it on a piece of parchment. It's sitting on the back of a pan. And then you can cover it with plastic wrap, but then you have to spray it first so the plastic wrap doesn't stick. But if you have a clear plastic box, you can just set it right on the top, giving it room to grow sideways. And then let it sit until it has proofed enough so that you can see how puffy it's gotten. I don't want it to exactly double. I don't want it to be at the point where it holds a dent. The dent should very slowly start filling back in, as it's doing now, because that means that those cuts are going to open up in the oven. So in order to give it a special rustic look, being a multi-grain bread, and this is optional, I dust it lightly. You can even tap the side to make it more even with flour. Rye flour gives a particularly good flavor. And then wherever I've dusted it with flour will be one consistency or one appearance, and wherever it opens up will be a contrast. And it's going to open up because I'm going to make 3 slashes. And I like to use a single-edged razor blade because it gives me the most control. And it's very, very sharp. So to make 3 slashes, and I can use this maybe 50 times without losing the slash, and you can go over it a second time if you haven't gone deeply enough. And then start the next one about 1 inch up from the first and go straight down. And I've cut into a grain so I can see that's going to look really nice. And then the third one is going to be right up, 1 inch up from that, and come down to the end. And you can see it's already opening up. This bakes at 450 degrees. I'm going to slip it into the oven right on the stone, and then I have a cast iron pan that's been preheating because cast iron really keeps the heat. So when we put about 1/2 cup of ice cubes in, you're going to hear the hiss and see the steam. And then quickly close the door and you'll get all that steam going that will enable the bread to be crunchy on the top and also open up to its fullest. And as you can see, these are the fully baked breads, and aren't they gorgeous?